So today's experiment, I hope to pour molten aluminum into this can and fill up the can without it melting through and spilling out. So that'll be a challenge for sure. So to get started, first I need to clean out my crucible. It's kind of interesting. The outside has gotten this coating of sort of shiny stuff, and then kind of pitting underneath it. Kind of interesting. I've used this probably, I don't know, 20, 30 times now. The inside, however, has got a bunch of dross built up, so I'm chipping away at that dross to try to free things up. Anyway, I'll need 2 hands for that, so I'm going to hit pause here. Well, I got the camera on the stand now, but unfortunately in the process of chipping it out, some cracks had been forming along the bottom and it broke. So, thus the end of my first crucible here. I don't suppose there could be some way to repair it, but it's probably not worth trying to lift the crucible out, pour it, and risk it cracking open. So, time to go get a different crucible. Alright, so here's a pretty much new crucible. I've used it a couple times for zinc. So I'm going to try to scrape the bottom out here just a little bit. I don't care to have any zinc mixed in here with the aluminum because it'll definitely catch on fire. The zinc oxide is not safe at all. So there we are. So now time to clean out the furnace. All right, so let's see here. Need to get the propane and get it started, and maybe put a little bit of seed aluminum in the bottom. I'll go ahead and pause for a moment. All right, let's go ahead and get this started here. The wind seems to be blowing in that direction, so I think I'm going to move so that I'm upwind here, and Since there was a bit of zinc in that aluminum, or the crucible, I think I'm inclined to hit pause, let it heat up to a good temperature, melt down the aluminum cans that are in the crucible, and stir it up a bit. Make sure I'm not seeing any little bits of that blue-green flame that you get from zinc burning, and then start adding some more. So let's hit pause here for a little bit. Wind has changed direction, so I'm going to be looking at it from this side now. Didn't see any white smoke coming up. That's good. Looks pretty warm down in there. Let's see here. Looks like the aluminum is melting down a little bit. See if we can zoom in a bit here and move the camera a bit closer. There we are. Definitely melted those out. Let's stir them just a little bit. Separate some of the dross. Normally wouldn't stir quite that much, but I wanted to see if there was any zinc being exposed to the oxygen and burning. I didn't see any, so that's a good sign. So now I think it's time to start adding some more cans. Since I'm putting the aluminum into a can, it'd be kind of fun if the melted aluminum was from a can. So I think I'm just going to use cans this time if I got enough. Definitely losing a lot of aluminum to oxidization right now. I don't have much of a pool of aluminum on the bottom to get the molten metal down into. It's sizzling a little bit. A little bit of moisture still on the bottom. Take that one out. Meant to just push it down in. Cans we can put in there. The open crush ones. There's steam coming out of that one too. All these are fairly recent. Enjoying some of the Jumex drinks. Of course, the wind strips direction again. Getting a nice pool of aluminum there in the bottom. Enough to fill maybe a third of the can. Got a couple of, show here, a couple of bird droppings got onto this can. Happens you set your stuff outside. Apparently they found us a nice place to perch above it. The bag got really loaded down. Melt down that bag and throw it away. I lost that piece. Did I get it out before it melts? And no, I did not. It's on the other side from where the burner is, but nonetheless very, very hot. Oh, hey, a little bit of white steam coming out from the lid there. Along with a nice sizzle. Quite a fair amount of water in it. It's kind of surprising it's under an overhang. It's been sitting out here for quite a while. Turn this bag inside out. We'll get those droppings inside. Bring over my aluminum supply here. Mostly car parts. I don't really want to melt those down right now. I want to do cans, but I got some cans mixed in, so it gives me something to work from. Let's see here. Back to there. Just to give you a different perspective, I'll zoom out a little bit here. And you can see the whole process. Not that it's that exciting. The fire is the fun part. Out of the way. The faster I can get it down amongst that molten material, the less time the aluminum has to touch the oxygen in the air, and thus the less amount of time it has to oxidize. So we're getting there. Go ahead and break up the dross a little bit, see how much we really have. It's very filled with aluminum right now. You can tell from the two things: the coloration being very silver-like, and the second thing is that it seems to be very beaded up and kind of hard, and the true dross is a black powder. So there's a lot of little tiny balls of molten aluminum amongst that dross. So I'm stirring that up there a little bit. Let me zoom in, see maybe some of how it's changing. So you can see now that it's definitely showing some degree of black powderiness. But I'm not going to bother scooping it out yet because I don't feel like there's quite enough aluminum there, and I still have some more cans. Unfortunately, our wind is now coming back in this direction. So I'm going to rotate a little bit here. Zoom out just a bit. There's our cans, what's left of them. I may use them all up, we'll see. This crucible's a little smaller than the other one. Can't quite fit as many cans in at one time, and it's not going to hold quite as much. So I think I may want to get a larger replacement crucible. There's something to be said for a larger crucible. Melt more material each time. Get more life out of it, I suppose. By volume, anyway. Crushed cans like this are not really the ideal because you got to fold them over again to put them in. That works better for this because you can just slot it right in the top. Now here's that one that's crushed like that. Just drop it right in. The other not so good. But I didn't know that when I crushed these cans, because it was a number of years ago before I ever did anything like this, so most of them are not crushed the most convenient way. But a few are. It's got some moisture in it. Okay. At least that one won't melt because it's still cool. There's the uncrushed ones. See what happens now when I push it in. Doesn't want to go in very easily. The pool of aluminum is so near the surface it just wants to fall over. So I was thinking there's a couple of factors. When I pour into that other can, I'm going to try pouring from somewhat of a height so that as the aluminum drops and drips out, it will cool a little through the air as it's dropping. And I want to pour slowly because if there is any moisture in the bottom of that can, I don't want the can turning into an explosion. So I'm going to kind of stand back from it. And of course, got my face shield on here. Most likely it's just going to melt a hole and drizzle down. Don't think I'll be able to melt quite all the cans. It's okay, it's always next time. I am running low on cans. If any of you all want to contribute, feel free. I'll always take bags of cans. If you've got any other larger aluminum pieces, car parts and the like, I'll gladly take those too. Unfortunately, the good friend that I have who owns a diesel repair shop lives up in Michigan, so unlikely to get very many aluminum pieces from his shop. This would probably be the last can. I don't want to overfill this crucible. Although once I pulled the dross out, I may want to melt some more cans. We'll see how much aluminum remains. Alright. Time to stir for dross here. And just on the surface, I don't want to introduce air bubbles. I just want to break the aluminum out of the dross and get it down in. A little bit of unmelted can there. This is looking better. That's odd. A little hard material there. Whoop. Didn't need that. Not sure what that is. Did don't look like aluminum can, that's for sure. How that got in there, probably a piece of something that I just dropped into one of the cans that was aluminum-esque. There, it's breaking up. There's some chunks that just don't want to break up really well. I give up on perfection and just settle. Well, not bad. A little bit of aluminum there, but not too bad. Let's see if I can focus down a bit easier so you can see it. Yeah, that's pretty good dross. Not a lot of aluminum in it. A couple little beads of aluminum, but not bad. The end of the spoon, I think, scooped those two up. The thing about dross is it just takes a long time, and you're not careful, your glove gets hot, so you got to stop, let your glove cool off. The other larger crucible is a little easier, I think, than this one. I'll try a new technique here, go a little deeper. Catch it around the edge. That worked okay, although I did pick up a bit of aluminum that way. That's getting pretty close. The question is, that enough to fill up the can? Not sure. Got about 4 cans left here. Let me add them to it. Can out of here. Got my tools here now to pull the crucible out. So just we're ready. A little bit of dross there from the last few cans. It doesn't seem to want to separate real easy. stirring stick again. Oh, wrong end of my stick. See that blue or yellow flame? That was zinc. I had a zinc end and an aluminum end, and I thought I was on the right end, and I was on the wrong end. So I'm going to switch to this. This one I only use for aluminum. Well, so far. I'm sure I'd use it for zinc the next time I do it. I haven't had it that long because it's a long stick and it keeps me a good distance. That's important from a safety standpoint. And those last 5 cans have really added some work. But Dross is breaking up nicely. Relax my back here a little bit. All right, I think that'll be okay. That's pretty good. My gas pressure is going down a bit, but that's okay because I want this to be pretty cool. I want it to be pouring at just above melting temperature. Normally you want to pour somewhat above it to get a good clean pour, but I'm going to try not to melt through the side of that can, which is probably impossible, but it's worth a try. To be honest, what I'm doing here doesn't really need to be that free of dross. It's all going inside that can. The little bits of dross you would never see anyway, but go ahead and pull it out. So now the question is, how long do I let it cool? Do I stir it a little bit to keep the temperatures even? Seems like that would be a good idea. And at what point do I pour? Because if I let it sit too long, it will harden in place. If I don't let it sit long enough, it'll just immediately melt right through my can and go draining off into the bricks that I have it set on, which I've done before, which makes fun little interior brick shaped ingots, but not really what I'm focused for right now. Oh my goodness. It does feel like it's cooling inside, congealing to the outside of the crucible. And as I go around, I'm getting this kind of scummy aluminum that looks like dross, but it's really not. It's just aluminum that's cooled. now it's sticking to my stirring stick. Well, maybe some dross because I'll go along the edge, but nonetheless, I think the very high aluminum content in it. I don't know if you can hear me talking. No. Yeah, that's dross, but it's certainly got some aluminum in it. So I think I was picking up dross that stuck along the outside of the crucible. So that may mean it's actually still fairly warm. Let's see what our temp is. See, here's the thing. It's showing like 825 on the top. Molten aluminum is like 1300. But it's the skim on the top that's cool. So doing that scraping, I got a 1036 figure, and you know it's over 1300. The problem is it's very hard to tell what it is because the surface is a different temperature than what it is inside. The question is, how much longer should I leave it to cool? Part of it is how slowly do I pour it. Because the more slowly that I pour it, the hotter it can be, and I'm still okay, in theory. Well, I'm very tempted to give it a shot. So, let's see here. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you can see everything as I pour it. I do plan to stand way back. We will see what happens. Wind keeps wanting to blow the can over. There we are. Oh, it has definitely destroyed the can. That is way too hot. Yep, large hole right in the bottom. That's hilarious. Let's set that to the side. There's the bottom. Poured right out. And there's a small amount of material that went right to the bottom of the the bricks. So let's try something a little thicker. So I've got this can of Friskies cat food. Let's see if that stands up a little bit better. Zoom in just a bit more. There's a little aluminum tab form. I'm going to have to break open a pour spot. We're unfortunately mostly not molten now. Got some dross, a couple drops of aluminum, and then that's it. It is hardened out. Whew. Smell of burning cat food. It's not that great. All right. Well, I wonder if that molten metal fused to the bottom or not. Nope. The coolness and the dross caused the bottom there to just form a little round piece of aluminum, and then it cooked a bunch of the cat food remains that were there. Throw that little piece of metal back into the crucible over here. So here's some little pieces of molten aluminum that I peeled off the ground. Let's piece off the ground here and off the bricks. Let's see if we can get that dirt out of there. Actually, I think it may be no, I was thinking it was a nut, but no, it's just a piece of dirt. It's very pieced together like it is a piece of an old nut. I mean, I could just toss it in there and it would either burn and turn to dross, but I'd rather get rid of it here. So I'm going to toss these little pieces, not particularly interesting, into the crucible. So there's a little half ingot, if you will, that formed at the bottom there. So at some point I'll pull that out. But putting that brick back into place is kind of a nuisance, so I might just leave it there. Put the other 2 bricks on top of it. The ends are still hot, but I can touch it in the middle. Here's our can. Zoom out so you can see it better. So pouring in the top, just caved in the top, hit the bottom, caved out, and it was trying to remain sealed, but then it busted, and then the material just all poured out of that open like mouth at the bottom of the can. So, kind of fun actually, looking a little thing. I can feel heat from here. I don't want to touch there still. The top's cooled down to the point where it's probably okay. Although again, this part here is cool. There's really no heat at all. So I'm not taking a risk by holding it, but so it's kind of fun. You don't know what you're going to get. You run the experiment and see what happens. So once this gets back to molten state, there'll be a bunch more dross to remove. Go ahead and pause it here for a minute and let it marinate. All right, so after about a minute and a half, I got tired of waiting. Great deal of patience. And so I thought I'd check it out. So I started to break it up, and it was just sort of like slushy ice. And it slowly was breaking up, and now it's not just slushy ice, it's mostly molten. It's trying to get it all very cleanly stirred up. Pick out whatever dross was stuck to the side and whatever dross formed with all the air it was exposed to. That's looking pretty good. So I want it to be fairly cool when we pull it out, so I think I can pull it out now. Because I'm going to try pouring it into the cat can. Put that over there. Let's remove the dross. Get the cat can set up, and I will zoom in so you can see it when it pours better. All right, cat. This, zoom in. This will be fun. All right. And let's see what happens. So I'm wondering if I should try from really high up and move around. No. Yep, and it just burned a hole right in the bottom. And it's putting up a pile of smoke. Goes to show you need a real real mold. Cat food dish does not work. So let's pour it into the actual mold. That corner didn't fill in for some reason. Cut everything else pretty flat. So got a little material there left. You know, why not? Got a big aluminum dish right here. I've been using it to hold stuff with. Let's just try pouring some in there. It was already cold, so nothing to pour in. All scrap material. Let's scoop out what's left in here. Junk at the bottom, and that's it. Let's go ahead and shut off our furnace and call it a day. That's all, folks.